Welcome back to the Skewed Moo Kitchen. We're going to make zucchini stew today. This is in Korean called GochujangJigae. I probably butchered that, but it's basically a pork stew with zucchinis, or hoboks, as we call them in Korea, green onions, a little bit of red bell pepper just for color, and a potato. And let's kind of go through the things here. We're basically going to chop up the vegetables into bite-sized pieces, and then we're going to cook the meat with a combination of Doenjang, which is soybean paste, and Gochujang, which is a hot red pepper paste. These are going to be our primary flavorings. Also a little bit of garlic, and you can make this either with vegetable broth, or you can use the rinse water from your rice. So when you're making short grain rice, you rinse it first, you retain 2 cups of that, and use that to actually create the stew, and it's going to thicken if you do that. I think my rice is done. So basically, either way, I'm going to use the water from my rice. Normally this is served with rice. So off camera here, I'm going to chop some vegetables. I'm going to try to keep this video short, rather than the first one I did, which went on way too long. So we'll do a little bit of stuff, prep work and things off camera, but I'll be right back. Now I've got all the vegetables and the meat cut up. Basically the zucchini and the potatoes I basically got cut into, I don't know, approximately 1-inch cubes. Easy enough to eat. And I roughly chopped the green onion. You could use scallions too. I just never seem to have them. I always have green onions. The pork is cut into thin strips. This is just boneless rib. Doesn't really matter what cut you use, especially if you cut it really thin. We'll just cook it long enough so that it's tender. And I'm using a little red bell pepper, and I've got this sliced really thinly. Traditionally, this would be a chili pepper, but I have to draw the line for my wife at some point. So the next step is we're going to actually cook the meat with the 2 pastes real quickly, and then basically everything else gets mixed together and it just gets boiled for a while. So I'm going to do the mixing here. So we're going to start with the gochujang, and basically I'm going to use 1½ tablespoons of this. Now I've got pretty hot stuff here, so I kind of need to be careful with this. And the big problem with gochujang is it is really sticky. I'm just going to use my finger to get this into the pan. And I'm not sure that's really on camera. Let me move this over here so you can see that better. And roughly another ½ tablespoon. So I got a pretty good dollop of that in there. Now I'm going to do the Doenjang, and that's in the tub of it. Get it open here. And it's kind of the same deal. So this should be about a ½ tablespoon, so that's 1½ teaspoons. Fortunately, it's not quite as sticky. And we'll call that done. And then basically a little bit of oil. We're just going to sort of fry this all up with pork. And let me move the camera and we'll do that. Okay, I'm still a little jury-rigged with the cameras here, so we'll try this and see how it goes. So basically, I'm going to kind of heat this over medium heat, let the oil get a little hot, and just fry the gochujang and the doenjang a little bit. Then I'm going to add the meat and basically stir fry. Simple process here. And basically what we have in the pan here is kind of this red paste, a little bit of oil, and we'll start getting it here. I'm just going to add in my pork. Get that good and coated. Kind of see that. So normally this process takes about, I don't know, 4 minutes, 3-4 minutes. You want to cook it until the pork is just about done. Not quite. Doesn't, we're ready to boil this, as you do with stews. And if it gets a little too dry in here, adding a little bit of water, probably a good idea. Now I'm going to add in 2 cups of the rinse water for my rice. Like I said, vegetable broth would work just as well for this. This will just thicken up a little bit. If you make this without the pork, you could add clams or something like that, just a little bit to just get a little bit more flavor. So we're going to bring this up to a boil. And take just a minute here, hopefully. Okay, we're almost boiling there. One thing I did forget was to put in the garlic when I was sauteing it. I'm just going to add that in now. Better late than never. Okay, we're boiling now, so I'm just going to add the potatoes in. And just going to let those cook for a couple of minutes. We've just given the potatoes a little bit of a head start for a couple of minutes. Now I'm just going to add the rest of the vegetables. So we've got our zucchini, the red pepper, bell pepper, and green onions. Just getting down into the liquid, and we're just going to simmer this pretty much until the potatoes are done. So that's going to take about 20 minutes, half an hour maybe, depending on how small you cut them up. And we'll come back and take a look when it's finished. So to kind of recap, the only real specialty ingredients you need to make this is gochujang, and if you're going to do any Korean cooking at all, you got to have this. And this also used a little bit of doenjang, which is just fermented soybean paste. If you notice in this, there was no salt that we added. This is your primary source of salt in this. It's pretty salty stuff. It's not spicy. I've used the mild here. They do have spicier ones, but that's what the red pepper paste is for. So this is my recipe for zucchini stew, and it's really simple to make. Takes about a half an hour. Anyone can do this, and it's pretty good. So anyway, thanks for stopping by. Like, subscribe, click the notification bell so you get notifications when I do stuff. And I'm going to try to do at least 1 video a week for the time being. I'm still kind of up in the air with the equipment here in my kitchen, trying to turn it into a TV studio. So hopefully the quality of things will improve, especially the audio. I'm having a little audio issues now. But anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.